Cupcakes is the most popular fanfiction in the MLP fandom, and of course it's expected to get fan works of it such as fan art, fan animations, and so on. This includes fan sequels and spin-offs, most of which honestly suck. Think about it. The entire premise of the Cupcakes creepypasta is that Pinkie Pie is a cannibalistic serial killer that has assigned every pony in Ponyville a number to see who she'll kidnap, torture, and then bake into cupcakes. What could you possibly do with that premise without it being repetitive, if the fan sequel stays in Pinkie Pie's point of view? That is why most of these sequels end up bad, because it will just be the same premise because there isn't much to the original premise. The main reason I think that is because the original author, Sergeant Sprinkles, wrote it mostly as a joke. Here's an interview of him by Equestria Daily.
What inspired you to write Cupcakes? I wanted to parody the fandom at the time, so I gave it a shot. When you set out to write Cupcakes, did you have any specific messages or themes in mind? To be honest, I think I screwed up. I meant to be funnier. I wanted it to be gross, scary, and uncomfortable, but ultimately it was supposed to be silly. I'm a big fan of horror comedy, and that's what I was aiming for. In the end, I don't think it was silly enough.
And yes, when you really think about it, the Cupcakes creepypasta is quite silly. The fact that Pinkie Pie is just out there making jokes and being silly, while Rainbow Dash is just crying and screaming.
I'll read you my favorite part. This happens after the electrocution and before the disemboweling. Dash started to cry again. "Pinkie?" she choked out. "Yeah?" "I want to go home," Dash sobbed.
"Yeah, I can see wanting to do that,"
replied the party pony.
"Sometimes I just want to give up. Just say, I'm done with this mess and go to bed. But you know what? You can't shrug off your responsibilities. You got to pull yourself up and meet the challenges head on. That's the only way you're gonna get ahead in life."
Dash hung her head and cried. I'm not laughing at Dash's pain. It's the mood whiplash between the two of them that gets me.
Let's take this fan sequel called 20 Minutes as an example. It takes place right after Pinkie was done stuffing up Rainbow Dash, then right after Twilight visits asking Pinkie to bake a cake for Spike because he is sick. Twilight gets impatient and walks to the hidden cellar Pinkie Pie just left open. Then she falls down the stairs, falling hard on the floor and becoming unconscious. And the story just ends with Pinkie Pie killing Twilight like she did Rainbow Dash. Now tell me, what actually was the point of this fan sequel? What did it add to the Cupcakes fanfiction? A sequel is supposed to expand the story and the universe the story takes place in. And most of these sequels do none of that. But you may ask, didn't Muffins kinda do that? It did, but not in a good way. Let me explain. Tell me, when you look at fictional serial killers from professional media, what do you notice about them? They all have different motives. Some do it because of a corrupted moral compass. Some do it out of anger. Some do it just for their evil enjoyment. What are the bakers' reasons in doing what they do? If you think about it logically in the fact that this is a sequel to Cupcakes, the only motivation they should have is to bake cupcakes just like Pinkie did in the original creepypasta. Pinkie and Cupcakes wasn't revengeful, and someone having their number drawn was never personal. So what is the baker's motive? Inconsistent. Sometimes they're simply just evil. Sometimes they do it for justice, or to push some philosophical bullshit that doesn't even make any sense. For example, Apple Bloom taking revenge on Diamond Tiara for making fun of her deceased parents she was so upset about never meeting, while being perfectly willing to kill Applejack and Granny Smith. The fact that they enjoy doing it to a pony they hate, but also to a pony they love.
"Princess," she said firmly, "remember this. Under your rule, a young Pegasus was abandoned by her mother. A helpless earth filly was locked away in a cellar by her parents. Under your rule, foals of all ages are shunned by others until their cutie marks appear. Under your rule, society has decided it's better to remain blind to the harsh reality of the world."
Are you angry with society for some reason?
No.
Let's take John Kramer as an example. Is he a hypocrite? Yes, he is. However, the reason why he puts people in traps stays consistent. A villain cannot be sympathetic and evil. They can be likable and evil, just like well-written characters like Chucky or Patrick Bateman. Is Eric Cartman from South Park likable? Yes. To many he is. Is he sympathetic? No, the writers of South Park don't want you to be. The author of Muffins tries to portray the bakers as these misunderstood victims with their tragic backstories you're supposed to feel sorry for, and also these evil, badass sociopaths you're supposed to be scared of. There are many things Muffins can be criticized for, and many people already have. However, this video isn't only about Muffins, so I'll move on to the next point. I can't believe I forgot to mention this, but one of my biggest problems with Muffins is the ending. It perfectly explains the problem with most of these sequels to Cupcakes. And yes, I understand that the fun never ends. Is not the official ending, but it was supposed to be the ending. The official ending is, well, too awful that I don't even want to talk about it. How Muffins was originally supposed to end was that the bakers get caught. Then the plot twist was that they ended up escaping, and that Bab's seed joined the bakers. Now think about it. What was the point of this fan fiction? It was just Cupcakes over and over again, but with Derpy, Apple Bloom, and Pinky's sisters. And the ending showed this perfectly. There was no end goal, because Cupcakes in Pinkie Pie's perspective can't really have an end goal, because she's just a serial killer that will kidnap a pony to bake into cupcakes over and over and over again. Alright, that's what I wanted to add. Let's continue to the next point. So, are there any good sequels? Yes, there is, and it's called Rocket to Insanity. Let me explain why I think this is a very good sequel. For one, it explains the absurdity of cupcakes. Like, how does Pinkie Pie have a secret basement the cakes don't know about? How come no one in Ponyville notices all the missing ponies? Why would they have things like skinning knives when they're all vegetarians in the show? Etc. The ridiculous scenario fits perfectly of it just being a dream. Secondly, it is a very unique premise that is wide for many possible sequels, unlike Cupcakes. Also, the whole mystery behind it. Who is that voice telling her to kill Pinkie? Is it an entity or just her mind? What could happen after Pinkie dies? What is Dash going to do? Etc. The sequels themselves are also very good, like The Fall of the Apple Family. They're not repetitive like the sequels to Cupcakes. Cupcakes was a very unique twist to the My Little Pony universe. It's a fun story on its own and should honestly be left as a one-story scenario. Cupcakes is really one of those things that don't need a sequel like the movie Coraline or the anime Death Note. Leave it as it is, because a sequel will not work in most cases if the whole premise is so simple. The only way to actually make a sequel, it must be outside of the baking thing.